Okay, we are going to be looking at yellow sort 25 today. We're going to be looking at the different sounds of ah and air. So think about if you were saying ah, ah, or air. They're the two sounds. Now the way we say ah is actually, we have this sound, ah, like car or park. So we make the ah sound. Now in America, they actually say, check I didn't move my board too much. That's all right. In America, they actually say the r. So in Australian English, we say ah for AR. We don't actually say R like they do in America. That would say park in America, or car. They actually say the r in a way that we don't. So in Australian English or British English, we talk about R. Can you see this R has lassoed the vowel? R, or I've sometimes heard R called a rascal. R. Basically when R is attached to vowels or vowel teams, it can modify or change the way that vowel team speaks or the sound it says. So we'll put little rascal R over here just as a reminder, but to show you with one of the ways we say air, there's actually two ways. There's A-R-E, like as in square, and there's A-I-R as in air. So that actually says exactly what it sounds. Let's look at, let's say the AI from air. On its own, it says A. That's like rain, rain. But if we take it out, notice the R doesn't rascal R if it's in front, it only does if it's following. So if we have, say the word hair, h, that should say h, a, r, hair. But it doesn't, it says hair, because what happens is the R lassos the AI and almost becomes a new team. And that team, A-I-R, makes one sound, which is air. So this is now h, air. But we could have this up here, and that says r, a, n. So the N doesn't attach itself to the AR, and no other consonants do. We could have r, a, ul, or p, a, n. So we have all these consonants that can follow this AI, but R is a rascal. So when it's R, as in hair, or pair, I want that pair of socks. We don't say p-a-r, pair, like we would if it was pain. We say p-air because the R lassos the AI and makes its own sound. So keep in mind when R follows vowels and vowel teams, it can make changes. So over here we've got an R following the A, so it lassos the A and changes it to make its own unique sound. That's why I've got a card just for AR. I don't have a card for AK, I don't have a card for AT, I don't have a card for any other consonant, but R does funny things to vowels, so it's actually got its own because A is such a common vowel. AR is a very, very common digraph in words, and so that's why we're looking at it today. And you will be very familiar with words like car, park, dark, etc. So that's going to be some of the words in your list. So it's just interesting to note really the fact that, so really what today's lesson is really about this rascal R. So I'm going to put that up there just to remind you. So yellow sort 25 is about how R comes along, sits next to our A's or our AI's or our AR, and then we add another E. So these are different ways in which R is commonly used in vowel teams, making really common sounds. R and air are two really common sounds. Sometimes when you're doing the sound, it makes you do R like that. Remember the slashes to describe the sounds. Okay, so we're going to now get on with our sort and see how we can break these words. And we're also going to spend a little bit of time talking about the oddballs because they're quite interesting today. Okay, so we've got our just get a different colour for our title. It is blue. Okay, so we've got our AR words. We've got our ARE words and our AIR words. So they're the three categories of air. So we've got R, air. Two different ways to spell the air. So we're going to look at a word and decide which category it fits into. Okay, so let's take our first word. The first word is part. Don't write it in yet, but let's have a look at it. So P, R, because we now know AR is its own special sound. It's very common. AR is a very common sound in words and double letter phonograph. So, or a digraph, because it's got two, remember. P, R, T. So hopefully you can see that that word belongs under here. P, R, T. And we've got words like start, st, R, T. You can see that R sound. We've got another word, shark, sh, R, k. So if I was to put a dot under each, that's actually using three sounds in that word. We've got sh, R, k. So we've got vowel team sh, consonant team sh, vowel team ar, and then k, kicking k at the end. So you can see how words actually just get broken down into their sounds, and that's the whole point of looking at words in this way. Rather than just randomly learning a list of words, we're actually looking for patterns in the spelling so that you can become expert spellers. Okay, let's have a look at some words that fit in the air category. Okay, so you've got the word stair. Walk up the stairs, but we're just looking at a single stair. Okay, so in fact, this is a good word because I can spell it two ways, and both of these words are on your list. So we've got stare and stare. Okay, so both of them are modified by the R. So I want to show you how R behaves in a completely different way to every other consonant, and how the R, remember this rascal R, impacts words. Let's take that word and instead of R, we'll put L, just a random other consonant, okay? So let's say stay. Do you see how that behaves completely normally? Our A is basically magic E, so that says stale, stale. If it had, let's make the R a T. State, state. Every other consonant in that position would have that behaving as a magic E. But remember, R is a bit rascal, so R basically lassos that vowel and makes this ARE say its own sound, which is air. Okay, so this word actually says stare. But you would be forgiven for thinking, if you use this normal rule, you might think that says st, like the first time you ever saw this word written when you were learning to read, you might think that said stay, stay, stayer. You can kind of see how though the letter R doesn't let you say it that way. So you can start to see why R is a bit rascal. Here, let's look at this word and see how it would behave. Let's change the R to N. Okay, so we've got S-T-A-I, but this time it's an N, not an R. This says st-a-n, stain. That should say stayer, stayer. But it doesn't, because remember the rascal R lassos the vowels and makes it say air. What about if we replace the R with stale? It's not how you spell stale. Stain, state, stay. stayed. No, there's no, I mean, I could make up a word. Stays, no. I can write state, but that's not actually how you spell state. Or we could have straight, so we could have strain and then straight. But the point remains that even if that was a word, let's say state was a word, that's how you would spell it. S-T-A-T. But as soon as this becomes an R, the R lassoes the AI and it says stare. So I'm really just trying to teach you today about this rascal R and how R comes along and does things to vowels that all other consonants do not do. So these unique A-I-R, A-R-E and A-R sounds are very common, and that's the pattern that we're looking for today. So I'll get rid of these and we can continue with our word sort. Okay, so we've got R, R, R. Let's have a look. So we had stare. Obviously that's the air sound. We've got stare here. So that's stare, like take the stairs. And this is stare, I'm staring at you, like looking. Okay, we've got bear. We've got B. Does anyone know how to spell bear? As in, you've got no clothes on, you're bare. Or, I haven't dressed the cake yet, it's looking very bare. That is B-A-R-E. Common shape that I'm sure you know how to spell this word. Square, A-R-E. See how you can spell words by just breaking it down into their sound. So that's Q, which is always together. You never have Q without U. That's why even in this alphabet cards here, Q is attached to U. You never have Q without U. You physically can't have it in English words. So you've got S, Q, U, and then this new air sound that you're learning about. So once you start to learn about letter patterns, and you can see how many letter patterns there are, and there's a few more than this, but these are the main ones, you can actually see that spelling becomes quite formulaic. So really there are all these building blocks of words, and you just have to put the right ones together. But once you start looking at a word like square as just a squ and air, this new ARE sound, knowing that there's only two ways to make the air sound, air and air. Actually, that's not true. These are the two main ways. There are other ways. You can start to see that spelling complicated words is actually pretty easy. What about a male rabbit? Hair. Again, we've got phonogram. So we've got the male rabbit hair, and then we've got the hair on your head. So the hair on your head is spelt this way. Hair. H-air. And then we've got h-air, as in a male rabbit. We have got chair, fits over here. Ch-air. That's two sounds in that word. Ch and air. Two sounds. Ch-air. Even though it's a 5-letter word, it's not a 5-sound word. Okay, we've got pear. And we've got pear. This is probably not a word you use very often. Pare is to pare back or peel back. So that's what this word means. So you've got pair as in a pair of socks. So we've got our pair of socks. It's like a pair. And over in Oddball, we're going to have our pear, as in piece of fruit, pear. Just check that's, yep, you can still see that, it's good. Okay, so over here you've got pear, like a apple and a pear. Okay, we have got, what else have we got? We've got fair, keep it fair. But then we've also got fair over here, like how did you fare? Like how did you go at the race today? This is fair, as in keep it fair. Don't you know, cut the cake unevenly, or that won't be fair. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our, okay, so they're all our AI words. We've got a few more here. We've got care. Don't you care? K-air. Two sounds. Stare, square, bear, fair hair. Great, okay, they're all our ARE words. We've got a few more here. We've got part, start, harm, M. H-A-M. We've got sharp, sh-a-p, sh-a-p. And we've got dark, d-a-k. Okay. And we've got a few more oddballs over here. We've got where. Now that's making the air sound, but we're not using A-R-E or A-I-R. So that's why it's going in oddball. We've got bear, like the animal, bear. That is not air or air, but it's over here. And can you see a pattern here? Hopefully you can. These are not, that's actually a less common but still used way of saying air. Because normally, what does E-A-R say? When this is on its own, that says ear. But it can say okay, or air. So this is the E-A-R sound saying air. So this is a third way, but less common. So we're keeping this in the oddball category. And we've got where, as in where are you? This is not a rule player at all. This is an unusual word. Because when we have H-E-R-E, that says here. And then we add W, suddenly it says where, making the air sound. So this is a true where. Sorry, I'm just going to rewrite it because that was messy. Where is a true oddball. And we've got heart. The reason this is a rule breaker is because it's using this E-A-R sound, but it's making the R sound. So you can have the word h-a-t. I think that's a male deer or something. I've never used it in that way, but you can, that word does exist. So that could be in this column, but it's actually not in your word list. But the heart, as in the heart of your heart that pumps your blood around your body, is spelt in this way, H-E-A-R-T. So it's actually saying an R sound, but we're using this E-A-R. So this is also a little bit of an oddball. Okay, so that's your word sort for this week, and hopefully the one thing you have learnt from this lesson is that R comes in and plays a little bit of tricks on the vowels and changes their sound, but they're very common and you do get used to it. So a lot of these sounds that R changes, you're probably so used to you don't even realise that that's what the R is doing. But it's good to look at it and good to help you get very systematic about how you spell these words. Okay, have fun practicing. Bye.